I don't think wearing a medal, and I don't think having more certificate on the wall would make me a better person or make me a happier person, rather than doing something meaningful.
So once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the musings of the Knights of Rizal. As you know, we have this episode on Know Your Knights. Uh, Today we have a very special guest from the World Brothers Chapter, Sir Billy. As you know, the Know Your Knights is basically for us to understand and know our knights who are from far away. We are very fortunate to have this access to with the internet and web to be able to learn more about their experience in the Knights of Rizal. So, Sir Billy, how are you, sir?
Well, I really have to say thank you for this opportunity for me to say a few things, and also wish everybody Happy New Year over there.
Happy New Year,
Uh,
sir.
Learn from each other, and I'm sure we will have a very wonderful conversation for the next half an hour.
Absolutely. Without further ado, sir, can you tell me about yourself, sir, your background, your family?
Right. Kind of a mixed bag because my dad was from Macau. Sadly he passed away. Uh, mom actually is from Hong Kong. So in very early age. I went to Australia. So I'm basically Chinese Australian. But about 10 years ago, I never in my wildest dreams, so to speak. I'm now working in Macau. My father's um, his humble abode before. So I also have a foundation, Peace Foundation, in based in Manila, and for the past few years, sort of gave me the opportunities to go back and forth on a regular basis, and doing a lot of very meaningful things, such as a lot of missions, relief missions for typhoon victims to, your volcano eruption. There's a lot of sad stories that we try very little humble way to contribute, and juggle between how we're gonna get support from our knights, from our members all over the world, and the foundation has been running very successfully, and very fortunate that Sir Sunny was on my board, and he invited me to uh, uh, the Knights of Rizal, and I took a hard look on it, the history of it, and then I thought, wow, what a meaningful thing to do. So I became a knight, and also now I'm a chapter commander of the World Brothers Chapter. And
So,
you're right, all the members are from all over the world um, on my chapter. Some of them are very, how you call it, uh, well-to-do in the political scene. Very happy to have Secretary of State, the Vice Minister of Industry and Innovation of the Kingdom of Cambodia. He's on board in the chapter. The current Georgia State Senator, Emmanuel Jones, he's also in our chapter as well. And the Nobel Peace for Business winner, um, getting the prize together with Elon Musk, Sir Sayadin. He's also on our chapter. So from the Americas to Portugal to Cambodia, Asia, and Australia as well. I spent 26 years in Perth, and the the very well known family, John Forrest. He was our first premier of Western Australia. His descendant, Ross Hawley, Dr. Ross Hawley, is also on my chapter. So we got a bit of a mixed bag,
That's right.
and these people are quite sort of influential in their own region as well.
Very impressive set of officers. As you know, sir, when the Knights of Rizal started in 1911, it was composed also of people of high stature and people of important positions in both in government and business and
Yeah.
civic sector. I know somebody when Sunny talked to you about the Knights of Rizal, it was all theoretical. But once you actually set a foot and did your research about the organization, what impressed you about the Knights of Rizal?
My story is very different. I went to a few of our how you call it, the wreath laying ceremony in the Rizal Park, and my wife and I actually went to the Philippines for holiday. At that time, I had very little how you call it affiliation with Manila or Davao or any. I mean, when I was in my youth, in teenager, I went there for holiday. But the trip that I went with my wife, I played the tourist thing, and normally people don't do these things. I mean, normally people go to Manila just for a boost up, expect all the expats, But my wife and I, we booked a tour. We booked a tour at the Intercontinental Hotel. That doesn't exist anymore. Unfortunately, they pulled down the beautiful hotel in Macau. So I joined a very easy tour, and they took us to the American Cemetery and Intramuros, the ruin of the castle, and the young chap who was the tourist guide was very kind and very informative and walked us through the entire back garden of the Intramuros, and told me the entire story of Jose Rizal. Up until when I started my Peace Foundation in the Philippines, and we have the ceremony with all the laureates from all over the world, and we decided to do the wreath laying ceremony at the Rizal Park. I sort of dig deeper and looking at the Philippine society as a whole. They do respect this person on the statue, and I looked further into it. He actually had spent some time in southern China and in London, and places that I've actually been in Europe, and I look at his writing, his beautiful words, and the backstory of the entire non-violent, but at the same time, I would say anti-establishment at that time, controversial. All these elements together. He spent his time in Hong Kong, also been to Macau as well, visiting some of our Macanese families. And as you know, Macau here is a Portuguese background, so fairly similar to the Philippines. It was a Spanish background, and I could see a lot of similarity in the counter-revolutionary figure of Sun Yat-sen, and he's also a medical doctor. So when I compare notes, and I found Dr. Jose Rizal is a very interesting man. He's not just a founding father figure, and in actual fact, his idea and his philosophy, so to speak, and his action was very unconventional for that time.
That's right.
So very interesting. So when Sunny introduced all that to me, and it was an automatic yes. I said yes. I'm very proud to be part of your order, and I looked deeper. And in 1911 was the how you call it when you for the first bit
Foundation.
of the order.
Founding.
That's right. Yeah, the beat was so loud and so clear, and it ripples to today. And soon after I think in the 50s, it was already in the Republic Act. So it's a world how you call it recognized order, And when I look at the order of the Great Britain, it was, I think, 1917 and 1918. My memory is fading at the moment. It's too early in the morning for me. It's actually 1911 is probably a few years earlier than the British order system.
I wanted to ask you, in your research about Jose Rizal and his writing, is there any particular writing or any particular episode in his life that struck you? A wow
Yeah,
moment.
it's amazing. It's really amazing. I was walking in Fremantle in Western Australia. It's a very old part of Western Australia, and got many bookstores. And I managed to find a copy of No Limit Dangari in Spanish. And I must say, his style and also his insight and message is subtle, but it probably raised a lot of tension in those days in the 1800s, especially in the Philippines, when you were under the Spanish administration. And for an Asian person to be able to write that anti-establishment, I would say controversial at the time, on the edge of turning to a new page. And I thought that is probably most impressive out of all the writings. And you look at the figures in that novel, like for instance, Maria Cara and all this, Ibeira, all this stuff. I mean, you can still see a lot of this sort of after effects in today's Manila.
Now,
that was way before I was a knight, by the way.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Now, sir, let's segue a little bit on the Knights of Rizal. Is there any knight that you look up to, that you met in some of your participation? Incidentally, I did meet you at the Antipolo International Assembly. But aside from me, is there any knight that you met that kind of impressed you and you look up to in the Knights of Rizal?
Yeah, I met a young chap. I think his name's Enrique. I can't remember his middle name and surname. And did a very amazing research of Dr. Rizal's the entire journey.
I think, sir, you're talking about Sir Ricky, who wrote the coffee table book.
Yeah, and
Ricky.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Ricky
from
that's right.
Hong Kong.
He based in Hong Kong, I heard. Yeah, and then we exchanged email, and because of COVID, I'm not able to. For the whole year, I wasn't able to do anything major apart from some of the mission that we can do with my people in Manila, and the rescue package for the and also we send a lot of PPE across the world and all that stuff. But I wasn't able to invite any people to come to Macau because I do have a lot of people here. They would like to hear his story, and I spent an hour speaking with him at the international conference in Antipolo. And by the way, that's a very amazing event. I would say they should keep doing it. He did a lot of research, and he did a lot of research not just by his own impulse, but actually by historical facts. And I would say this will sort of goes down in the history of the Rizal order. For a person like him, did so much for the founding father, I would say, for the Philippines. And probably Enrique stood out most during that very short conference. And
yes,
I was only able to spend 2 days in Antipolo, and I had to come back to Macau.
yes.
So yeah, but definitely, I would probably do more in the future with him. Invite him to come over to Macau and speak to a bigger audience. We must find and select good individuals, and they can also spread the words. And we can, when we do an event, it will become a higher level order event in the future in the region as well. So this is my belief, and this I think I'll pursue in that vein. So we also have a list of laureates. Um, these are quite amazing people. I mean, I have people from Montana, the former governor of Montana, the son of the current Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, the person who spent a lot of time in trauma care during the Yolanda typhoon from Israel, who actually came and did the command of the rescue mission during the Yolanda tragedy when that hit Batangas and all these other places in the Philippines. So I've got many amazing individuals. They will come and collect the peace award, the peace prize. And the reason why I'm doing that is I thought it's time for me to have something a bit more solid in Asia. I've been spending 10 years already in Macau, in the South China region. And most of the prizes were, giving body were either, in the United States, Norway, or in Europe. There aren't that many good ones in Asia. So I'm committed to do that. And so with these amazing caliber of individuals, and I will cherry pick some of them. They can be our night fellows, and that's my plan as well. So I'd like to share this with you. Yeah.
We want to thank you for taking a love, I would say, in the mission and vision of the Knights of Rizal, and using your stature, using your resources in spreading Rizalianism around the world, really. Sir, in your you're definitely a world traveler, traveling around the world and meeting people and having this exposure change a man.
Oh, definitely,
Like
of course.
Rizal.
Yeah, definitely. There was an old saying in China. I was saying, if you want to read 100 books, you might as well walk for 100 miles, and you got to pick up a lot more when you're going around and meet people and do things. And I do remember a lot of these old sayings, and because even though I left Macau and Hong Kong for a long time, and I went to UK and spent also 2 years in the United States as well, by the way, in California, and I spent my adult life in Australia. So but those sayings sort of it's like the first jab, the first cut is the deepest. So you never forget those amazing proverbs, especially things like, when you tell me and I sort of forget, and if you involve me, I will understand, and if you let me do it, I will remember. Okay, these amazing proverbs from the Confucius time, because if you live in Australia, you're so far away from everybody. You pretty much living a more sort of can I say comfortable life, fresh air, blue sky, and you don't have to worry too much about pollution, traffic, and all sorts of political unrest and all this sort of stuff. So when you're so comfortable, you sort of feel you don't want to get out of that comfort zone, that circle. But because of the opportunity of coming back to Macau to work here in the university, I'm able to go overseas sort of more often, especially going down to Manila is only 1 hour 45 minutes. Going to Cambodia is only a few hours. Going to Japan is only 3 hours. Going to Beijing is only 3 hours. Going to Europe is only 11 hours. Going to LA is only 11 hours. So the world's become smaller for me.
That's right.
So So I must say traveling is amazing.
So, sir, I know that your time is very valuable. Let's talk about legacy. You did say you're 60 years old. I don't want to be doom and gloom, but life expectancy is 76, maybe 78. In using the Knights of Rizal as a vehicle in your philanthropy, how would you like to be make a mark in the Knights of Rizal?
I must say, the more amazing nights we have in the future under my chapter, I would say I'm putting seeds around the region, and not throw but sow, on good soil, and because these are very amazing individuals themselves, and they can do more work for me, and also spread out the amazing message, of the late Dr. Jose Rizal. I still call him the founding father of the Philippines. A lot of people don't agree, but I still want to do that. And because I still truly believe that Philippines is an amazing country. It's a country full of amazing human resources. Um, it had its amazing glory. I read the history of the past, and I think when you take a look of the entire ASEAN circle, Cambodia, Myanmar, Thailand, Singapore, and the Philippines um, should be um, become not a leader, but at least something a bit more like a cultural center, a center with East and West idea, multiculturalism, and this amazing quality uh, that would, and also the amazing history of the Hispanic backbone, and and the westernized idea. Jose Rizal will be an amazing figure for the rest of Asia to look up to. And I think with my little contribution, I can do that, and that would be something that I want to see before I die.
Well, that's very noble of you, sir, planting the seed and sowing the seeds, as you said.
Mhm.
As you know, sir, this year we will have a election of the Supreme Council.
Mhm.
We will have a new Supreme Commander, and as you know, Sir Elihu won't be able to pursue another term because of our bylaws. If you
Correct.
had the chance to talk to the new Supreme Commander one on one, heart to heart, and you would give him your thoughts, what would it be?
Uh, and if I have the opportunity to speak to him face to face, I would say, do what excites me, do what excites you the most, and the purpose of being the Supreme Commander of the Knights of Rizal is actually to find that purpose. And whatever you do, you should do your best to carry on this tradition.
Sir, uh, we've come to the portion when I will ask you to give your closing remarks and talk to the KOR universe. What do you want to say to all our brothers around the world?
Uh, all our amazing brothers and sisters and ladies of Rizal as well. I don't want to be so chauvinistic, male chauvinistic, because a lot of amazing lady of Rizal also, they do a lot of good work, especially my wife. Um, and I do believe COVID, uh, the pandemic, actually gave us uh, a huge impact, not just socially. It sort of turned our clock back to 1599, when the Black Death was happening in Europe. 1599. At that time, they also have a lot of amazing people came out. You know, um, Shakespeare wrote Hamlet. Uh, it's amazing medical development and all sorts of amazing things happening. So we must remind ourselves how we're going to utilize our time during COVID. And this year we will have a lot of new challenges. Let me tell you, it's not going to be easy. I wish all our members, all our knights, fellow knighthood of the KOR, of course, stay safe and take care of your family. And we must try our very best to take care of the next person, the person who standing or sitting next to you. And by doing so, you're showing a good example. And I wish everybody to really take care of yourself and briefing ourselves forward for 2021. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.